Hi, I'm Martyn for GTB TV. We're in London for the Innovation Summit. I'm joined by Ranulf Scarbrough. He's BT Director for the Superfast Cornwall partnership. You've just been talking on a panel. Could you describe the partnership and the project?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really ambitious programme. It's a partnership of BT, the European Commission and Cornwall Council to transform Cornwall's economy by taking fibre broadband out to 95% of Cornwall and indeed the Isles of Scilly, but then to help drive the transformation in the economy with small businesses, to address Cornwall's historic low-wage economy and try and really revitalise, make it more knowledge-based and wealthy.
And you mentioned there Cornwall is a low-wage economy. Do you think superfast broadband can really change lives in Cornwall?
Yes, absolutely, and we're seeing that already. I mean, the history of Cornwall, with the traditional mining, fishing declining, it needs to transform, become more knowledge-based, more competitive. And we're seeing these connections really open up opportunities for all sorts of businesses to do new things, get closer to their customers, work with new technologies, work in new ways, reach customers that are not just in Cornwall but nationally, across Europe, internationally. So we're really seeing it happen, and it's very exciting.
And on the panel, you mentioned some really interesting real-life scenarios where it's already happening. Can you give us a couple of examples?
There's a spectrum of adoption at the kind of high deck end. A company called Head Forwards, who have started building agile software, working with some big international names, companies in Europe and Japan. They've built the world's largest eBay shop. This agile approach needs them to get really close, sharing desktops, Skype calls. 17 people they've hired in the last 18 months in software development, really high-value jobs. A more traditional example, the Driftwood Spas, is a hostelry, a pub, a microbrewery, and some guest rooms. So they've adopted the technology. They don't know much about technology, but they said, let's see what it can do. They've opened up 50 meg Wi-Fi, and they had some auditors from the local hospital, from Ernst & Young, came to stay, and they found what the broadband was like, and they stayed for 6 weeks, which, out of season, transformed their revenues. They're also using it with their wine club to bring in winemakers from around the world, to drive footfall, from the microbrewery to promote their beers in European beer festivals. So they're doing all sorts of things and experimenting with the technology. That's just 2 examples. There are as many examples as there are businesses in Cornwall really adopting this stuff, and we've got over 3,000 now who've come on board with the programme.
And here at the summit, you were on a panel with representatives from Iraq and Brazil, and they were talking about how these new world challenges are affecting them. Do you think that challenges are similar in the UK as they are in Brazil and Iraq, or are operators facing lots of different challenges in different parts of the world?
Obviously they're really different places, and it's really interesting to hear from those speakers. But I think what we have got in common is we're all trying to use the network to get somewhere to really transform. And I think some of the things we're seeing with actually small businesses in Cornwall and in Brazil and in Iraq actually really using the technology to leapfrog from where they are. And I was struck by if you're an entrepreneur with your own business, 1 or 2 people, how powerful this technology can be for where you want to get.
And you've been getting fibre, right out into the extreme regions of the UK. How have you been doing it?
Well, I think we're pushing the fibre technologies further than they've ever been pushed before, because really driving into the rural area, we think we've probably got the best connected rural area in the world already in Cornwall. So we're taking FTTC, VDSL2, right the way out to 2 kilometres or so. We're driving fibre to the premise with GPON out some really tiny villages, in little corners of Cornwall. And I think really looking at every individual location and trying to work out how best to serve them to get that fibre, once in a lifetime opportunity to get it as far as we can across the rural environment, because it's then there for the long term.
Great, well thank you very much for talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you, Martyn.